it's Stephanie Ann, and today I am recording my screen because I had someone who wondered how I got my photo to look like this. So I just wanted to show you how I managed to do this photo. Unfortunately, I didn't record it beforehand, so I'm going to pick a different one from the series of photos that I took. And I'm not entirely sure which one to pick yet. But see, beforehand I take a lot. This time actually included JPEG in it just for preview purposes. Therefore, they're all just small little JPEGs. And so I'll just click on it in case I don't want to open Bridge. So I just took some pictures on the bed. And let's see. I can use this one. So I'll use number 18. So look at the number and click on the raw image. In this setting, if you are using Photoshop and you open it for the raw, I usually take off the vignette, I cannot say it, the dark stuff around the picture, and because it just automatically does it and it's too dark for me. So after I do that, for this photo, clearly it looks on the dark side, not so dreamy as the person called it, that they wanted to accomplish that look. So I will do recovery because that gets rid of the really bright thing. And in this particular photo, I just put it all the way at 100%. Then I want to bring up the brightness by a nice amount. And then I kind of do fill light to fill me in just a little bit. And that's about it. Maybe the vibrance can be brought a little bit down. Or maybe the saturation. Because I don't really want like really colored, because it's more of a mellow photo. I mean, clearly I'm not smiling, and normally I don't do photos with that much skin showing on my leg, but for some reason I liked it, so oh well. And then I'll move like the coloring, maybe want it more kind of yellowy-ish, not so much, I don't know, work on it later. So once you have like the basic settings, maybe the exposure up a little bit, then you say open image, and that's what I do on the raw photo. First thing I like to do is I like to zoom in on myself and get rid of little dots and moles and whatnot. That's because that's my personal choice. I don't care for them on myself, and if I'm gonna be living in a photo, I'm gonna live it the way I want to. So after doing spot healing brush tool right now on all the little dots, and sometimes they're on my legs. I have really bad skin. Can't really tell because the quality kind of decreased with the bad lighting in this room. But, oh well. So this photo was taken with, I think the ISO is at 400, and I believe I used aperture priorities, so it chose the shutter for me. But the aperture was at 1.8. So that is that. My face, you can't really tell or anything. It looks pretty clear from far. Sometimes I'll smooth it out just to say I did. I don't know, no, I'm kidding. And sorry if my clicking's loud. I got a new white mouse just because it's white and I thought it was pretty. And it was cheap. Just to try it out, you know, cheap mouse, but it's a really loud clicker. I click a lot when I'm on Photoshop. So I probably will do a video on how I do retouching my face, because I always had to do that because my face was so horrible that the only way I could see life without it was in a photo. I know that sounds sad, but it's true. Sometimes with my legs I will smooth them out, only because luckily you can't see the details, but they're really unhealthy looking. Oh dear. So after I do that, some things in the photo that I don't like are this over here, the corner of my nightstand, and this frame out of nowhere. So I get the clone tool, get a nice brush size, and I clone it out of the photo by picking a spot underneath it or around it. And then after that, it's gone. For the nightstand, I'll just crop it out like that. And then we want to make it centered nicely, so I'll bring that side down, which probably would have taken out the frame. So after I do all the basics, I finally go into curves and adjustments. I actually don't do adjustment layers, but I could do that. So right here I take a snapshot because in case I want to go back to just this image, which is kind of like my new raw default image, instead of this one, we have this one. It's all cropped and fixed up. After that, we will do an adjustment layer for curves. Where are you, curves? There you are. I don't really like using this because it's a tiny little curves off to the side, but oh well. So I'll brighten up myself and kind of bring the darks down, I guess. And then we have that. It's a little bit of a difference. So beforehand it was like this, and now it's like this. And if I don't like the colorings, usually I will go in and change the color with either variations or color balance. I'm going to do color balance. I feel like it has too much of a yellowy in myself. So I could pull up some cyan, maybe a little bit of yellow. Then when I decide I don't like it, I'm going to do selective color instead, because really I just don't like the color of my skin tone. Kind of want it more pale looking for some reason. I don't know, adds to the mellow look. So I go into selective, selective color, and I'm going to change the reds, bring the magenta down, bring the yellow down. That was Skype. And bring the cyan up that magenta shows. Now the green shows. It's just kind of like playing around with these. I really don't like that yellowy look, and I don't want the magenta. And when it's not working out the way you want it, then maybe I could change the yellows. So if you don't like it after all, that kind of took it off, you can do variations. And that one I usually do a lot. I use variations a lot. So with midtones, I'll bring it down just to do tiny little tweaks, and maybe I'll add some blue and take some saturation out, darken the shadows, and say okay. So now it's kind of like that, but I don't actually like it. So revert back to before, and I'll keep this. So instead, I could probably just take out some saturation and say, okay, works for me. Now, after you have that, what I like to do, I'm going to blend these. I just like one layer for some reason. I can't do the adjustment ones. So now I'm going to use the dodge tool over here, and I have the exposure kind of a low percentage. I'm just keep it at 14%. And that's where I go over my face, my body, and everything. That's to bring me out without touching the rest of the photo. So I just like to kind of have my custom brightening and whatnot. Okay, so the quality isn't that great in this photo because it was kind of dark in the beginning, but you can work on any photo really. I mean, just play with it, it's no big deal. After I have that, my final thing I like to do is add unsharp mask. I did this because when I was in college for one semester, I took a Photoshop class, and that's where I learned curves, and he always said it's good to sharpen it a little bit before you print it. I usually don't print my photos like all the time, but here and there I'll print some 4x6s, so we like to sharpen it just because it adds that extra. With the low quality image or image that was low lighting, you can't really tell when you sharpen it, so it's no big deal. Now, what I notice is that there's still slight dark, so maybe I'll go in and kind of do curves just a little bit more. Not too much. And don't let the highs, I don't want to blow out the image. But if that doesn't work, then you just get the dodge tool, and what I notice is just the edges that kind of just want to brighten up, make it, I guess, more dreamy. So there we go. And I'll brighten those edges, play with it. This is what I usually do for photos. All these tools I'm using. And there we go. Now if you're like, dude, I don't like green. Well, you can actually change the color of your shirt when. So I'll go to hue / saturation. and pick greens and select that green on my shirt and change it to kind of really not so great. Maybe I want to change it to like this brownish color or blue. It's kind of changing the whole image, but you can adjust that as well. This color's kind of cool. Gray, darken it a little bit, take the saturation, I don't know, and then you can minus what you don't want around it, kind of like that. I don't know, something like that. Add to it, there we go. I don't like, okay, there we go. And then I kind of look reddish, so we're going to do the color balance again and add more of the cyan look and more of the blue. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Ah! Add some yellow. This looks green. So yeah, it's just really just playing around. Like right now I can't get the coloring how I want it. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to figure out what I want. So if that doesn't work, then you do variations and it just kind of adds a layer of color on it. Maybe my problem is it has too much red, so we'll add cyan instead. That rhymed. That color. I don't know. So yeah, just play around with it and pretty much have fun with your image. And I'll just stick with this one. And there you have it, a totally different image. So since I took so many snapshots, we started off like this, then we fixed it a little bit, then we adjusted it some more, and then we ended up like this. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video of how I typically will edit a photo like this. And good luck to editing, and just play with it. Don't forget to save your image when you're done. Since I have all these JPEGs, I kind of just cover them now, since I don't really care for the JPEG, it's just a preview. And normally I have it all organized, and I'll have an edited folder and the original folder. And I am moving my hands, but you can't tell, and I realize I'm pointing at the screen. So I'm just, now, I don't know, I'm covering the originals, and I guess that shows me what I've edited and what I haven't. So I'll say, okay, thanks. When I'm finished, I actually, for some reason this does not appear bright enough. I'm going to do screen, bring down the opacity, do a little bit like that. Yeah, that's a little better. That, yeah. So yeah, you can even make more adjustments, but then we'll save it again. And last but not least, I have my actions, and I recorded my watermark because I'm lazy. And it's too big, so I make it small. Place it somewhere you could see it, but not. And then I make that one layer, and I like to make this version smaller because it's no big deal. It's just gonna go online. I'm not gonna print it. And then I call it SM for small and WM for watermark. And there you have it. If you have any more questions, just let me know on my Facebook or here on YouTube.